From the west side of Berwyn, it's time for The Greg Show, starring Gregory Struss. I'm Scotty-Joe Vegas, inviting you to stay tuned for the next 30 minutes because you will hang out with me, and plus meet Kevin Zolek, Rick Klein, and John Lavelli from FuzzyMemoriesTV.com, plus all sorts of other surprises. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the man who is paying for the shindig, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gregory Impossible Struss! Yeah, baby! Double down, get down! Buy the Whopper and sell it!
Thank you so much. It's nice to have an audience that doubles for the crew.
See.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome back to The Greg Show. It's so good to see all of you. And you know, a lot of things have happened since the last show that we've done. We have been in, what do they call it in cable? Do they still in cable call it hiatus or reruns? Is that what it's called? Are they still called reruns? Mid-season break, whatever. We were exhausted after those 4 shows we produced. Anyway, it was, so anyway, I end up having to go to a dentist and have my tooth pulled.
See.
And so I walked in, and the dentist is like, I need to check your cavity. And then the police came after I removed my clothes. It was really bad.
Hello! Sell the joke.
So I ended up going out to Seattle, and it was a nice trip. We ended up going out, replaced everything on the car. I mean, I ended up doing the water pump. My Volvo has like 257,000 miles on the thing. So I take it cross country and end up getting out, see my friend Paul. It was a nice visit. And then on the way back, I end up losing a wheel bearing in this small town. And so I get back to town, and it was funny because we were going to do some shows, and then I was sick for a while. And so the Fuzzy TV Memory guys are here tonight, and I don't think we've ever canceled guests as many times as we did these guys. They're here tonight. Kevin Zaflick, Rich Klein, and John Lavelli, correct? Lavelli, okay. I'm sorry. And of course, we have some of our own Fuzzy TV memories from past Greg shows that we've been airing in between our studio segments. And Celine's been like, "Why are you doing that?" And I think it's been kind of fun.
It has been.
You know, we have not been. You know, it's not like we've done anniversary shows and things like that. But Celine's like, "I like it. I love it. I want more of it." And so it was exciting to do that. I really don't have anything else. Did you know that Hugh Hefner got married?
Really? I thought he got married about 3 or 4 times.
His wife is 27 years younger than he is.
If you can eat the biscuit, I guess you cook it in the oven.
Really?
Yes.
So she was born like 28 years after his first divorce from his wife in 1959.
Wow.
Thought that was interesting. Anyway, we have a new year, Greg Show 2013. We are excited. Woo! And so before the show, we are talking in the men's room, because that's where we met originally, in the locker room.
Correct.
In high school. And we're changing. I feel comfortable in my manhood to change in front of you. And we're having this conversation, and what ended up happening?
Somebody was in the stall.
Oh, yeah, and I'm carrying out a conversation. He's like, "Oh, by the way, what's your name?" And he's on the show tonight. Yep. And I was like, okay. He's like, what did I get myself into?
So one of the 3 guys you're going to see tonight is the mystery.
Is the mystery.
The noisemaker, if I must say. Made a lot of noise in there. And I'm a little concerned.
We ended up having a conversation. It reminded me of like Liberace when he was on the Johnny Carson show back in the day. And he's like, "Yeah, the maid came in and I was sitting on the John." That's what he said.
Really?
And Johnny Carson sitting on the John. And he's like, "Lady, look, I get out of here. I want to get." And so I'm having this conversation, and how you doing? He's like, "I'm doing fine."
He was very manly.
Yeah.
I mean, for a mystery person.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was great. But it's just not the place to have a conversation. And
you did.
Well, and then Lee walks in with someone else.
Yep.
Lee is in charge of us here, and Jeremy in Master Control. And, "Oh, hi, guys. How are you?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we're just going to go do our thing over here." I was like, "Oh, well, how was your vacation?" I was like, "Okay, whatever." Anyway, I am Greg. This is The Greg Show. And we are reinventing television from the west side of Chicago and beyond, the west side of Berwyn.
Hallelujah.
And we'll be back in just a moment. Thank you.
Yeah!
Thank you. Hi, folks, and welcome to the Greg Struss Show. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce some high-profile guests that we have here in the audience tonight. First of all, we have from the Vice President of Swell Pictures, Dave Mueller. Let's hear it for Dave. He's out in the audience. I know. Denise Graham from the Hammond Times, she's with us. I know. It's just a setup. Let's hear it for Mick Jagger. He's here. Let's hear it for Mick Jagger.
Hey, we're back.
We are back. Thank you, and welcome back to the Greg Show 2013. This is our first show back, and Scotty-Joe Vegas is up here. How are you doing?
It feels good to be back, my friend, I tell you.
I'm telling you, I never in a million years would I think that 4 shows would exhaust me and exhaust us the way it did, but it just so happened that we did shows, and then we had a death in the family and the crew, and then someone else's family had some issues going on, and then I went on vacation, and I kind of had a midlife crisis for a minute. I don't know what it was.
I started there. Okay, I'm back now.
But anyway, you can contact us. Actually, I'm on Facebook at Greg Struss, if you want to. And we are also at gstrussman@gmail.com. And if you're tuning in, we are on Wednesdays, Comcast, at 8 o'clock on Channel 19.
Wow.
It's a winning time slot, let me tell you. The Bulls play, the Cubs play, the playoffs,
Really?
everybody.
Wow.
When we were on. So we have been in what's known as reruns. And so what I did is, we ended up repackaging some old shows and showing some stuff, and it was a lot of fun.
People approach me at the grocery stores and say, you look good. So, I mean, that's good.
You do?
No, they come up to me and says, how's Greg doing and stuff. I always say, it's great. He's doing fantastic. He really is.
Yeah. So it's fun.
It's fun.
So what have you been doing?
Well, I'll clean that up a little
Okay.
bit. Just been traveling, going from town to town, up and down the dial. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just like WKRP in Cincinnati.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I ended up going out to Seattle, and I was seeing my friend, Paul, who writes some of the material, but not tonight. And and so I get out to Seattle, it was about 2.5 days, and I, there's been a lot of nuttiness in my life. I've had a lot of crazy people that I've kind of dealt with over the last 2.5 years, so I wanted to get away and do this, what I was calling it, my spiritual renewal trek.
Gotcha.
And so I get out there, getting ready to relax for a nice Thanksgiving dinner, and as soon as I pull up, Paul's like, and I hadn't seen him for a while, and he's doing great, and he's like, by the way, my friend Ben is here, and he's crazy. And I'm thinking to myself, well, this is what I escaped in Chicago. I wanted to go on a nice trip. So I get inside, end up eating dinner, and I'm sitting next to him, and he starts cackling like a bird. It's like cackle, cackle, cackle.
I think that's great entertainment.
Well, it was, but I just...
But you weren't ready for it.
No, I wasn't ready. So then we're sitting down having, talk, and he starts letting out this huge laugh. And I'm like, dude, please. I'm not like a dude speaker kind of thing, but out there, you kind of got to do the dude thing. So then we get up to leave, because I wanted to see some of the new, some of the sites. I hadn't been out there for a while, lived there 5.5 years. And the guy starts stalking us, following us. And I'm like, look, I left all the crazies in Chicago.
He couldn't communicate to you, his office
No.
mates.
And
It's a shame.
I wish there was more to the story.
I wish there was.
But I'm very happy tonight because we have the kids out here. I think we have like a family thing going. Celine's sons
This
are
is
out
a
here,
family
Anthony
affair.
and Jimmy. And Travis is here, and then we also have Bob and Mike in the control room.
Oh.
And I loved it because Bob is showing everybody how to do the stuff. And,
He was mentoring.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
And you said that's his calling.
That's his calling. He should have a mentorism. Is that a word?
Something like
I mean,
that.
it takes a man to teach a man.
Okay.
That's it.
Coming up, we are going to be visiting, and I...
Not that women couldn't teach men either, for we don't get no calls. Or
My
anything.
sister's a teacher. My mother was a teacher.
There you go.
So lots of teachers in the family.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to go
But that
back
was a
to
different show back
That's all right.
back during
I
our
don't know.
exhausting 4-show schedule. John Lavelli, Kevin Zaflik, and Rich Klein they're the curators of FuzzyMemoriesTV.com. Now, we've known each other almost 30 years this year.
Buddy, a little bit more than that.
It's 1983 we met.
Really?
Yeah, it's
That was
2013.
Summer 82. No, it was 83.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So you remember like back in the day.
Yep.
Everybody was into the sports. Larry Bird, all these people had posters. I had posters like Phil Donahue, David Letterman, Johnny Carson. Not that there was anything wrong with that, but it was kind of different. And in Chicago, when I would come from Michigan, there were always shows that I loved watching, like Eagle Snort Hotel, Ray Rayner and
I used
Friends.
to watch before church.
Right.
Yep.
Ray Rayner and Friends was on a lot of the shows that were on WGN and ABC here. And so what these gentlemen have done is created fuzzytvmemories.com.
Yes, sir.
And what it is an online museum chock full of video, television shows, rare finds that people have had. And so what they do is they contact these guys, give them a copy, and then end up cataloging it and then putting in presenting it.
Yes, sir.
And so if you want to go and see, the other thing and we're going to talk to them about this, the Museum of Broadcast has a lot of interesting things.
You took me there one time.
Right, and so what's neat about this is that you can stay at home or be anywhere and take a look at some of these rare finds. So Bozo, I was talking during the monologue that that they recently discovered a rare find of a 1971 Bozo show, and we're going to talk about that with them, and some other things as well as we take a look at some of our own fuzzy TV memory. I'm loving this because I get to go back in the vast Struss archive.
You have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and so
Yes.
these little 2-minute pieces are just like cracking me up as I'm sitting there. I don't know. I'm just a man in my 40s, and not much thrills me anymore. So it's always fun to be able to do that. And we will take a look at that and much more after this. Thanks for joining us.
Yago Saglia.
Man's in love with a woman, woman's in love with another man. Woman's in love with a man, man's in love with another woman. She lived right next door. We go out on the town and tear up the dance floor. At the end of the night, I met the wrong front door, baby. Our love is a dead end. Oh, say I don't love you. I'm in love with your best friend. We go out with some friends to have a good time at the end of the night, but she's yours and not mine. Oh, baby, I don't mean to pretend. Say I don't love you. I'm in love with your best friend. Wait a minute. time. I'm friends with your brother. Oh, my woman, she's she's your best friend, but she acted like my mother. Oh, baby, I don't mean to pretend. Say I don't love you. I'm in love with your best friend. 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 All about your sister. Your best friend. Even though I miss her. Your best friend. Oh, but say I don't love you. I'm in love with your best friend.
Back in our little classroom and family get-together. Celine's family's here. We're only missing her other son. So I said if the kids are good, we're gonna, from this experience, we're gonna get them a job at Kathy Lee Gifford's textile plant in India.
Oh, very nice.
Nobody laughed at that joke, and it's so bad. Anyway, our guests tonight are the curators of the very cool FuzzyTV.com. Please welcome John Lavallee, Kevin Zaflick, and of course Rich Klein. Welcome. Thank you.
Hi.
How are you?
My
Good to
dad
see
goes
you.
by
Good to
Rick.
see you.
I go by Rick. But,
You go by Rick. I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry about that. I came across this website about a year or so ago, and it was funny because a lot of the things are posted on YouTube.
Yeah.
And the first one that I watched, and people thought I was nuts when I said, they have a news promo from Channel 7 Eyewitness News with Jay Levine. And Jay Levine now is over on CBS too. And I was like, wow, this is really rare. So I started going through it, and then Giggle Snort Hotel and some of the other things.
So yeah, everybody has their own thing that they go wow over, and that's, you never know what is going to be the thing that's going to trigger something, because that's what we try to preserve, is the little ephemeral things. It's like everybody loves Bozo.
Right.
I mean, most everybody remembers Bozo and things, but there's other things that maybe you haven't thought about it for a long time, but when you see these clips, it just unlocks something, and it's really neat to see those.
And you're speaking of Bozo, and over the holidays, WGN, they had that Ray Rayner and Bozo and Friends or
Bozo,
whatever.
Gar and Ray, yeah.
Now, did you guys originally find the videotape that they used?
Well, Kevin gave them some, right?
For Bozo, Gar, and Ray, there's a clip when I was a kid on the show. My parents taped it, and their friends taped it, and WGN had posted on their on an AOL message board 10, 15 years ago saying, we're looking for tapes to do a special like this, please mail them to WGN. And this was before Fuzzy Memories, and I had sent them to one. So you'll see me every Christmas Day on Bozo, Gar, and Ray. But Rick is the one that actually found the tape that was the Bozo's Lost tape, that was that hour-long special.
And see, this is what I was talking about earlier. Back in the day, prior to 1978, which is a long time ago, television stations and production companies never kept copies of shows. I read somewhere where the original Mike Douglas show, which started in 61, 62, Westinghouse erased all those shows, but a technician on the show had made copies and gave them back to Westinghouse. So no one saw the future value and how they could have amortized that years later people would want to watch these shows.
Yeah, sure.
So WGN was only one. That was the Bozo show of Bozos. You went to Grand Rapids, they had a Bozo show. You went to Ohio, they had a Bozo show.
Pale imitations.
Pale imitations. So WGN ended up, I'm sorry for hogging all this, but this is just exciting stuff to me.
Yeah.
So WGN erased all these shows. There was a 10-year wait to get on the show, and so thousands of these shows are gone, and you found where'd you find the 1971?
Well, that's the thing. It was submitted for a Peabody Award originally, back in 1971. And what a lot of people maybe forgot about is that even if it doesn't win the award, they save the submission tapes, which is nice for us, you know. So I was just looking through. I mean, I'm always like looking through different archives and just everywhere I can for any kind of stuff that, you know, we want to try to preserve. And I was looking through the archive online listings for the Peabody Awards collection, and you know, I started seeing some things that kind of, you know, were familiar to me. And then I did a keyword search for, you know, the big names things, WGN, Bozo, and then there it is. You know, it pops up there and it says 1971, and it didn't have much detail on it, but I was like, 1971, that's all you got to say right there, because nothing, you know how many episodes exist from 1971 before this? 0, you know, so it was a big thing.
And then there was also the copy of Garfield Goose that you found,
oh, yeah.
too. How did you find that?
Well, that was a different story, kind of, because that was actually recorded off air by just a regular guy, Rick Garofalo, who worked at, he still works at WGN. And, you know, he was an enthusiast with the stuff, the early videotape recorders, and he had this machine that recorded on the open reel. You know, they actually had, they looked like the audio tapes, you know, but they were video, and they were on the open reels, not in the cartridges, you know,
yeah,
it wasn't like VHS or anything, yeah. And, you know, so he had all these, and you know, he contacted me, and we started getting some of his tapes transferred, and he realized that, yeah, way back when, you know, that was from 1971 too. He had recorded a little excerpt of that show, and you know, even though it's black and white and it's kind of, you know,
grainy, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like, you know, it really touched a lot of people's hearts, you know, which was cool.
How did you guys end up getting into, you know, what part of it do you like about doing it? About being involved in the
Which one do you want us to go first?
Either one. I'm sorry.
I work at Ridgewood High School in the radio TV department, and we had a bunch of off-air recordings on 3/4-inch tapes, U-matic tapes, from the late 70s, early 80s. And about 3 times my boss says, get rid of them, we don't need this, we're not using it for classroom use anymore, get rid of it. And I moved around, and eventually the last time I had found out Fuzzy Memories, the Museum of Classic Chicago Television, and I says, hey, Rick, I've got the end clip of a Garfield Goose and Friends. I've got Floyd Kelber on a WMAQ newscast.
Wow. Yes, I'd like it.
Yes, exactly. And he came by, picked them all up, and I've been involved with the website ever since.
Thank you for saving those.
No problem.
I want it to be
They
known.
would have been in a landfill otherwise.
That's right. They tried to get rid of them 3 times before, so.
I met Rick. I answered an ad in Craigslist, which is weird because I rarely go to Craigslist. And he was selling 2 beta tapes. Can I say what was on them?
Yeah, I guess we can. This was in the earlier days of the website where, you know, we're trying to get some money to finance some of this other stuff. And, you know, so if we have to sell some of the tapes after we've transferred them digitally, then, you know, I was trying to do whatever I could do. But, yeah, John answered an ad, and what was it that attracted you to it?
It was 2 beta tapes, and there was an episode of Bozo on each of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
81
Right.
or so. And the ad was along the lines of "Buy this or we'll shoot the dog." It was buy the tapes or you will never see Bozo again. And at that point, I knew that there were no Bozos to be had, and so I figured, okay.
Unless of course you're talking about City Hall. All right.
Our initial and still primary focus is on off-air recordings, which means like somebody at home might have recorded something and they left all the commercials in. They just recorded an episode of, you know, MASH from Channel 32 or something. And so then in those commercial breaks are some little gems of things that you forgot
McFarlane
about.
came on with News Scene before 5 minutes before that. Channel 32 used to always have this
5-minute newscast.
And she happened to live in Riverdale too. Kathy McFarlane did.
Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you however much we can get in 5 minutes. But yeah. But that's the thing. In the early days especially, this is what I've heard from people. I never got like official confirmation of it. But the NBC, you know, they pretty much just wanted to find what the TV stations had on their master tapes and preserve those. They weren't so much, you know, slumming out to, you know, grandma whoever and see if she has a tape stuck in her cupboard of something. But that's the thing. you know, that may be the only existing copy of that. So I don't discriminate. You know, I'll go anywhere, look anywhere to find something.
Well, and then what's also interesting about all of it is that you're online, and that's really what it's about today. I mean, that's the future. The future seems to be online. And I'll be honest with you, when I went to New York, I went to NBC. In Chicago, I've gone there, and I haven't been to the new one.
Yeah.
As well as Beverly Hills, California. And I always wanted to see the Tonight shows with Johnny Carson. But again, you know, from 1962 to 1972, most of those shows, including his first one, is gone.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to turn up, though. I think someone's going to end up getting in touch with you and say, hey, I have this rare Carson show or something. But you're looking mostly for Chicago type.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm aware of the national shows that are missing things, just like Doctor Who has a long history of a whole bunch of missing tapes and things. But, you know, that's the thing. If I may show some of these beautiful examples of vintage VHS tapes and Beta. Don't forget about Beta. But that's the thing. If anybody has any of these in their cupboard or stuck somewhere in their basement, you know, you might have something recorded on here. You might have recorded an old CBS late movie. But in the commercial break, there could be a long Chevrolet commercial or something that we don't have yet. And that needs to be preserved, darn it, you know? So it's fun. It's fun to look at it. If you go to the website, and you'll probably get sucked in for a few hours, like everybody says. So,
and if you enjoy it, and if they don't have any tapes, what else can they do to help us out?
Oh, they could give us a PayPal donation, because we are a 501c3 nonprofit, so you can write it off on your taxes and feel good in your heart that you gave something to help save Chicago history.
I can't tell you how excited we were that you came out, and I hope you'll join us again sometime when we have a little more time. It is a really fascinating website if you are into television. I've never really considered myself a TV geek, but when it comes to Chicago television, there's some rare gems that I think you'll enjoy on fuzzymemories.tv. So we have Rick Klein, Kevin Zaflick, and John Lavelli. Thank you so much for joining us. Scotty-Joe Vegas, thank you for joining us. Greg Struss, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Winter sports, you gotta love it. We've gone on location to the Muskegon Winter Sports Complex here in Muskegon, Michigan. But before we can take a look at anything, I got a yodel here because it's kind of cold and it's snowy and all of that stuff. So let me get this out of my system. Thanks for sharing that with me. Anyway, this is a luge run. And this thing is absolutely huge. This is one of two. There's a bigger one here. I don't know exactly how big this thing is, but it's absolutely huge. These people come down on a luge sled. We're going to have a chance to take a look at that in just a minute. There's somebody coming down. And then I'm going to have a chance to go down the smaller one. What happens here, they coach you on how to luge. Obviously, a lot of people don't do it because they're afraid they're going to get hurt. But that's no problem here because you get coached on some of the techniques. Here comes someone right now. Excuse me, sir. So are you testing to be a crash dummy by chance?
The smaller one is the starter track. It introduces the public and also anybody that wants to come and try to the sport of luge. You start out very slow, and as you proceed down the track, you have a couple minor turns.